Best way to have anybody change is to demonstrate it in your life, that certain people will not see possibility until they reach crisis, they reach their lowest level, and then they're going to wake up and say, I better change. I think the greatest demonstration of change really is to begin to show others how to do it, to be the living example of it. That when you and I are living example of joy, that when we are not attached to what people think are emotions that keep us feeling sick, and when we are celebrating life and we are passionate about our future, that we are filled with ideas and inspiration, that's very contagious state of being. And people are lost in habits, are lost in those emotional states. They will see it initially as a front. It will be confronting them for a moment, but inside them, they secretly want to be free. They just don't know how to do it. So we always say in our workshops, you always know when somebody's in the midst of change because they stop talking about it. They don't talk about it. They're too busy being it. So if you and I are waking up every morning and demonstrating change in our life, the people in our life have one of two choices. They either begin to become inspired by change for themselves, not because they're preaching to them philosophically, but because they're demonstrating it in your life, that they're either rise up to that, or the person cannot maintain a relationship with the person who's living in such freedom, which means they'll probably stay the same for the rest of their life. But if crisis happens, they may make another choice. So my recommendation for people who are steep in habits and emotional states and patterns of thought, individuals around them might have to live in a state of joy. They have to live in a state of freedom. They've been demonstrated in every single area of their life, and normally there's a little thing in physics called entrainment, which means sooner or later others start to vibrate at the same rate as you. So be the example and don't drop to their level of suffering, because if a person is suffering or a person is struck in a pattern, very using people in conditions of their life to reaffirm the addiction to suffering, to that addiction to guilt, that addiction to difficulty. But they're no longer using you for that addiction because you've just overjoyed. They have a choice now that they can surrender, and that's the greatest thing you can do for them. It is to no longer meet them on that level, but to begin to influence them to rise up, not by what you say, but who you are.